The Medway UTC is a brand new education facility located on the Chatham Waters development in Chatham Maritime in Kent. The design is of a steel structure and is currently in the delivery stage, with completion due in September 2015. The UTC will provide a learning facility with a dynamic enclosed atrium at the heart of its structure. The project and its internal specification have been deliberately designed to provide a contemporary environment with a professional feel. The UTC will deliver an alternative choice to the area's teaching facilities, providing an educational experience today to meet the business needs of tomorrow. An integral part of our society and seen as one of the building blocks of life, education provides us with the ability to learn and develop as human beings. The traditional environment where all this takes place is typically a school, and these environments provide a setting where individuals can fulfil their role and chosen purpose in life. There is evidence that these institutions were around at the end of the 1st century, and from an education perspective, the underlying principle remains largely the same. But as an organisation and business, there has been a huge transformation. Whether it's an academy, independent, or traditionally maintained institution, they all offer a diverse environment from a social, cultural and learning perspective. The Medway UTC provides a blend of a traditional programme alongside a business prospectus, and this arrangement will present an additional set of characters to those found in a typical school environment. The curriculum will extend to the local areas and business community, and their involvement will add to the diverse nature of this establishment. It is therefore evident that a one-size-fits-all approach will not flourish in this environment, and the key objective will be recognising the various client groups, access and types of information, and method of execution. This approach will provide the amenities and instruction required to ensure the right service is delivered and performance maintained.
End users.
The days of the head teacher, staff, pupils and lonely caretaker take me back to my early school days. We mentioned our educational facilities are a very different place today, and whether that's through technological advancements, the multicultural society we live in, or the obsession with sustainability. We recognised several years ago that construction had moved from a traditional manufacturing process to a more service-orientated business, which required new and innovative ideas on how we make best use of our building stock. The educational sector is a good illustration of the changes in building type and technical improvements in recent years, with the UTC an example of the dynamic environment that can be provided for its user groups and anyone who might come into contact with this facility. In terms of end users, some of these groups are instantly recognisable, and in a learning environment, both student and staff will inevitably fall into this category. But there will be others who, dependent on their role and level of interest, will need to be identified, if only from a security aspect. To understand this approach, we need to know what an end user actually is. And in simple terms, it will be anyone who makes use of the services provided by this asset. We've mentioned the two main protagonists, students and staff, and this can be broken down even further with the duty under the Disabled Discrimination Act 1995 for all educational facilities to provide reasonable adjustments to anyone with a disability. This requirement will not be limited to just these two sets of users, but will extend to all user groups and visitors to the UTC. There will also be a requirement for some admin support to assist the academic staff, and these non-teaching staff will be managed by an on-site business manager, responsible for coordinating this support function. Parents are another group who by their nature will come into contact with the UTC, keen to see their children learn and progress through various stages of their development. But perhaps visitors and external parties will provide the largest and most diverse group of individuals and potential end users. The UTC is a collaborative venture of education, business and industrial training, and this model will attract its fair share of visitors and sponsors keen to assist and contribute to the facility's success. This could be in the form of community events and forums hosted by the UTC to present their message and update on the progress and achievements so far. These groups could be either formal or informal gatherings, but could attract a wide audience from the business community, local residents and political groups, all making use of the UTC. However, there is another set of individuals who will not only make use of this building, but will also contribute to the day-to-day operation and running of this facility. The demand for building performance has taken on a greater responsibility from an environmental, sustainable and cost perspective, and this investment will need to be managed. Dependent on the organisation and resources available, that could be in-house with dedicated members of staff. Alternatively, this provision could be outsourced to a third party and supplier of a specific service. Regardless of the model you choose, and it could be a mixture of the two, there will be a requirement for some form of on-site provision to manage the day-to-day services integral to an organisation's success. These end users will provide some basic and mandatory services inherent to most organisations, but due to UTC's business model and functionality, these could include the following user types.
Building maintenance and repair.
Like most things in life, buildings need looking after to maintain their performance and durability. This can be achieved through a programme of cyclical works repeated on a recurrent basis, but will also be supported by a system of building repair to respond to any ad hoc requirements. This will require individuals, a team of contractors, to access site and carry out the necessary works to deliver this service. This service is vital to maintain business continuity and comply with health and safety requirements, and inevitably will require some type of on-site provision and caretaking facility to respond to these unforeseen events.
Cleaning.
Providing a clean, safe and free from hazard environment will be a mandatory requirement at the UTC. As an educational establishment, the UTC has been designed to provide a range of different areas, each with their own designated space. These will include teaching rooms, social and common areas, circulation space and external grounds. And staff will be required to manage these areas to ensure they are properly looked after and maintained throughout their use.
Waste management.
We all generate waste as human beings, but with a campus of more than 600 people, waste management will be a key process to ensure the continued operation and functionality of this operation. Staff will be responsible for ensuring the regular and safe disposal of all waste material whilst complying with current regulations.
Catering.
The Medway UTC will be home to more than 600 students, and with a facility of this size, there will be a requirement to provide some form of welfare facility to keep its clients fully fed. This will require staff to prepare food, operate machinery, and deliver a range of dietary requirements, and staff will be expected to clean and maintain equipment to ensure a hygienic environment and compliance with food standards.
Security.
When sending our children to school, the safety of our children is one we have grown to accept. This rationale is based on these environments are intended to develop and nurture the businessmen and women of tomorrow. However, like any organisation, schools are vulnerable to events and incidents that most of us would like to avoid. The UTC is a tangible asset and in itself will contain real assets. And those assets need to be secure. But the security and safety of all users is paramount and will need to be maintained by security presence and end user in their own right.
Asset management.
We've mentioned that building performance is a key consideration in the design and construction of new build. Embracing this methodology will deliver a cost-effective and sustainable development whilst providing a safe, clean and comfortable environment. However, keeping it that way will require all of the issues we have discussed to be managed in a coordinated and efficient manner that will optimise the energy efficiency of the building whilst adopting a holistic approach to the management of the facility and its ancillary services. Asset management will provide this reassurance with an overarching presence that will interface with the UTC's senior management team so they can look after your building so you can look after your business.
Information.
Communication is considered an everyday occurrence in human life and is also an integral component to an organisation's success. The variety and amount of data can vary depending on an organisation's size and type of business activity. The UTC's primary function will be to deliver a system of education to enable each young person to become a more successful, confident and responsible adult. This ethos is further enhanced by the UTC's programme that symbolises the change in our schools today, recognising that schools are not just a place for learning, but are a professionally run and well-organised business. In this environment, not everyone is an adult, and there will be a need for data to be monitored to ensure information is directed to the correct recipient. This analysis will determine the various types and excess of information, but in some cases there will be a requirement to share information with the entire community. A new facility, information on the building's layout, location of different services and emergency exits will need to be communicated to all end users. Similarly, information concerning the school day or a health and safety issue may be transmitted to all parties. Information in compliance with health and safety will be prescriptive, and in accordance with statutory and insurance requirements, all end users will need to be aware of the measures and processes in place to deal with any event or emergency situation. This will include information on fire drills and the general procedure for evacuation of the building, in line with the institution's emergency and disaster recovery plan. General information will also alert all end users to any maintenance, repairs and disruption of services, and will form part of the UTC's business plan and risk strategy to mitigate any potential hazard. These could include toilets not in use, lift unavailable, and rooms or areas of the building inaccessible due to ongoing works. Advice and information on any inclement weather will also be shared with all users of this facility. Students and staff and all users will be provided with advice in the event of a severe weather warning, with information particular to all areas leading to and adjoining the site. Students and staff will represent the majority of end users in this establishment. They will require information to maximise their time and avoid any unnecessary delay. The building provides almost 5,500 square metres of internal floor space, but with 600 students and staff on site, The continuous flow and movement of personnel will be required to optimise space and avoid any congestion of communal areas. Students and staff will need to be provided with a timetable of events so they can coordinate their time and movement within the building. Students and parents in particular will also need to be aware of any development days and closure to the facilities. However, like any organisation, this is prone to change, and a change management process will be required to deliver quick and concise information to this set of users to maintain flow and productivity throughout the school. There will also be a requirement for academic staff to attend meetings and departmental gatherings, and this information will need to be relayed to staff to ensure full attendance and continuous business improvement. Non-academic staff will be supported by the business manager and key focal point of information. This role will ensure the management of staff and that all works are carried out in accordance with the job specification or contractual arrangements. Output will consist of the supervision and monitoring of individual and third-party performance to maximise efficiencies. The UTC is a learning environment, but like most environments of this type, they will require the support and range of services to assist the management team in fulfilling their key deliverable of education. Building maintenance will be required on a planned basis to maintain the structural integrity of the building, whilst there will also be a requirement for a response service to undertake certain repairs to maintain business continuity. Individuals will need to be instructed to carry out certain works as part of their daily regime, with a system in place to notify them of a priority event. This group of end users will also need information on the access and availability to certain areas, so works can be planned to ensure interruption is kept to a minimum. Cleaning is a key support function to any business, and like most organisations, this service will be provided outside of core hours to minimise disruption. Information will be required by staff on what areas of the building are to be cleaned and what areas, if any, are excluded from this service. Conversely, all users will need to be aware of this service and of any works in progress from a health and safety perspective. Waste disposal will be a daily activity, and all users will be encouraged to recycle and avoid litter. Information will be issued on disposal of waste and the need to keep a clean and safe environment, free from rubbish and unwanted pests. Another fundamental requirement in an environment like this will be the provision of food and drink, and a major addition to the UTC's operation. Staff will be required to prepare and serve food for the users of this facility. Kitchen staff will make use of the facilities and will require instruction on its use and subsequent operation. This facility may also be required during unsocial hours of operation, and information on events and any specific requirements will need to be provided to staff with advance notification. The safety and security of all students and staff is paramount to the UTC's trust and senior management team. All users will be availed of the need for an on-site security, from personal belongings to any unknown visitors on site. A method of reporting will be issued so the appropriate action can be taken in a quick and decisive manner, with staff responsible for ensuring the security of the building, briefed on any events or incidents that could compromise the safety of its users. The UTC will attract its own set of visitors, from parents to a collection of sponsors and supporters of this scheme. This group represents a mix of individuals and organisations, and their visits to this facility will need to be controlled and managed in accordance with site security. Who are they and what is the purpose of their visit will be the minimum information required. All visitors will be directed and provided with the correct information throughout their stay to ensure their safety and safety of all other users on site. The management of this facility is the responsibility of its principal governing body, who will provide the necessary information and clear instruction on all of the issues we have discussed. The success of the UTC will not only be measured on the education of its students, but will also depend on the building's performance.